Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the We Were Athletes Once podcast. My name is Kyle, and I am joined by Cody.
What's up?
And we are liars. I want to start off by saying that because we said we were going to uh, post an episode for the end of the Wild Card series, and we didn't do that.
We
So
sure didn't.
we're giving you guys baseball on Monday again. Like I said, our schedule is very sporadic right now just because this is our first postseason that we're dealing with recording. So as we go on with this, as we get a little bit better of a handle on how we should do it, we'll probably be better prepared for playoffs. One,
Probably.
uh, but right now we're just enjoying it. We're just having fun, uh, watching some good baseball, some bad baseball, uh, and we might need to take a look at some of our postseason brackets.
We could not.
So, Cody, do you have any initial thoughts on looking back at the wild card series?
Um, no, outside of the one obvious one that we kind of thought was going to be a blowout with the Dodgers Reds, I'm glad all the series went 3 games outside of it. And they were fairly competitive. There wasn't like huge blowouts. We got to see some close games. So at least it was good baseball.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and start off with that series just because that one's the one that didn't go 3 games, and it's kind of the one that everyone knew how it was going to end. We just didn't know how bad it was going to be. So the Dodgers ended up beating the Reds. They swept them, and the scores were 10-5 and 8-4. So the scores weren't necessarily all that close. The Dodgers' offense was just on point the entire series. Game one, the Dodgers hit 5 home runs. It was two from Shohei, two from Teoscar Hernandez, and one from Tommy Edman. And game two, they actually weren't any home runs, but they were able to piece together a bunch of doubles. Mookie Betts hit three of them. He drove in 3 runs. The Dodgers' offense is just firing on all cylinders in this series. And again, we kind of expected this to be how the series goes, but the Dodgers looked good.
Yeah, there's nothing unexpected there. Um, you expected that. It's a young team. It's just a win for the Reds to get in. Honestly, this was something that probably was a year or two ahead of schedule for them. So them just getting a little taste of the playoffs is going to be something that's going to help them down the road. So they have experience going into it the next couple of years if they can get back to it. Um, it's hard for a team with no payroll to beat a team with every dollar known to mankind into their team. Um, but also just that pitching, like you're running out there, Zach Little as your game two starter. Like that's hard whenever you're facing a team like the Dodgers who don't have a hole in their lineup and are using 17 starting pitchers that would be in their 5 man for the Reds. So it's what we all expected. There's no surprise here.
And we've talked for the last few years about this young core that's been coming up for the Reds, and we've always been wondering how long it was going to be before they really piece something together. And this is exactly what we were hoping for to see from the Red. Well, maybe not us, but what baseball fans were hoping for from the Reds for the last few years now. They brought in Terry Francona. They brought in a seasoned veteran manager who's won a couple rings, and they brought in some leadership for this really young team. Because they have all the talent in the world, at least in terms of their young talent, what you would expect from guys that are 22 to 25 years old, playing in the big leagues. And this was a very successful season for them, even if
Mhm.
their playoff their time in the playoffs was short lived. But we've been saying this for the entirety of our podcast. It's a matter of what you do next.
Yep.
There's an off season that's going to be coming up for the Reds, and are they going to be like the Orioles and waste their window with their young talent, or are they going to
Probably.
actually go out and spend?
I
Um,
just this is not a management that has ever shown us they're willing to spend. So until they do it, I won't believe it until I see it. But get them another front end of the rotation starter and a bat or two, and this is a very scary team.
yeah, really, the only time they've spent money was when they extended Joey Votto, and that was granted. I'm pretty sure that was in the middle of them competing, or maybe it was after they were competing.
I think it was right in there.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know 2023, I believe, was the last year of his
It's
contract.
like
So
the most money they've got on the books is Key Brian Hayes. Like
is he still under contract next year?
I thought he had like a big long extension
He might. Yeah, I
that
guess he
Pittsburgh
does.
gave him.
Uh, I'm getting my timeline wrong on when he signed that extension. But yeah, it was a great season by the Reds, but they ran into a buzzsaw. I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, Key
I
Brian
think.
Hayes deal runs through 29.
Okay, yeah. So they've got him for a while. And I think everyone's going to have their hands full with the Dodgers this postseason. They did just win the World Series last year. You don't normally expect to see repeats, but
You've got a $500 million payroll.
yeah, the Dodgers are capable of doing it. Let's go ahead and move on to the other series that we both predicted. The Detroit Tigers end up handling the Cleveland Guardians. Game one, it was just an absolute pitching duel.
Mm-hmm.
Tariq Skubal
Gavin
was
Williams.
Tariq Skubal.
Yeah.
And Gavin Williams pitched well with him throughout his entire
It
time in the
was,
game.
what, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, no earned. Like he was very good.
Yeah, he did give up two unearned runs, but that's just kind of a rough way to get the loss in
Yeah.
that. Like when you have a loss, but your ERA is zero for the playoffs. But yeah,
Yeah.
Tarek Skubal and Will Vest were the only two pitchers in this game. They made pretty easy work of this Guardians offense. But game two, that wasn't the case.
Nope.
Guardians ended up, rebounding on the brink of elimination. They scored five in the eighth to win this game 6-1. End up getting to Troy Melton for a few runs. Brian Rocchio hit a home run in that scrum. I believe, yeah, George Valera also hit one in that game, and Bo Naylor in that eighth inning also hit one. So
Yeah.
the sorry, go
Going
ahead.
into that 8th inning, it looks like it was probably gonna end up going Detroit's way. Um, Cleveland had one hit going into that 8th inning, and then they scored their 5 runs. So that was like the score looks like Cleveland kind of ran away with this one, but that was far from the case. This game was a one-hit game into the 8th inning.
Yeah, and then game three came up, and the this it, the big storyline of this series was the fact that the Guardians were the hottest team in baseball going to the playoffs, and the Tigers were the coldest team. They had this huge lead that they fumbled, and a lot of people were concerned that this team that looked like they were going to get a bye in July, August, early September, even may even miss the playoffs. And so they were able to avoid that. And whenever you have a lead like that, you really don't want to see it squandered. Even but when you barely when you barely make the playoffs, you don't want to see it end in a first round exit. And the Tigers were able to avoid that. The offense ended up coming out in game three. They were able to get to Slade Ciccone. They were able to get to the bullpen. Uh, Kerry Carpenter had some big hits. Dylan Dengler. And it was a
Bomb.
game-winning hit by Wenceel Perez, who was 5 for his last 57. Uh, yeah, he was going through it, and the Tigers were able to take care of business and move on to the ALDS.
Yeah, one other thing that I thought was interesting watching this series was how Detroit used Kyle Finnegan. Um, they brought him in at the trade deadline to kind of be their closer and shore some things up. And at times he was the closer, but then in game three of this series, they brought him in relief of Jack Flaherty in the fifth inning to get to the next 4 outs, which he did. He didn't give up a hit, didn't have strikeout, walk, nothing. But, it's just interesting to see how pitchers are used um, when it comes to the playoffs because all bets are off the table of when people are going to get used, how they're going to get used. And I think if we talk about a series currently going on, that's a conversation that we need to talk about is some of these pitchers and roles that they're not usually in and how that they're going to be affected by that or they're going to rise to the occasion. So just something to keep an eye on. Obviously, it didn't affect anything, but it was kind of interesting to see Finnegan come into that fifth inning um, as a relief instead of waiting to close the game out.
Yeah, and when you think about this Tigers team, they do have a big advantage in the fact that they have a manager who's done it before. Like, regardless of what people think about the Astros World Series win in 2017 that AJ Hinch managed, he was the manager for a team that won the World Series, and you have to be, regardless of what the circumstances are, you have to give him credit for that. He is a very good manager, and he did have to get a little bit creative. And when you look at how this pitching staff has been, I'm talking about getting creative in
Yeah,
this
he got real
in this,
creative with trash cans and center
in
board
this
board.
series. He had to get creative. Um, and
Oh,
when you look at how the Tigers pitchers have performed over the past month or so, you kind of feel like that's how it needs to be. Like, he you feel like he had to get a little bit creative because obviously you have Tarek Skubal. That's a big help, especially in a 3-game series. But Jack Flaherty has been pitching rough. Casey Mize, Troy Melton gave up that game too. They don't have a deep rotation. Their bullpen has been, hit or miss outside of Will Vest and Kyle Finnegan.
I mean, Flaherty looked decent in game three. He gave him 4 2/3 with only one earned run. So you hope that he can at least give you that going forward.
Yeah, he looked good. I'm just thinking, like, if he looked good in that game, I'm just thinking about in
I mean, the end of the season, almost
previous.
everyone outside of Tarek Skubal looked rough.
Yeah, so I think that's why he is deciding to use Kyle Finnegan in those ways. But it worked. They're moving on. They're facing a tough battle against the Mariners. But it's good on them for still being able to make it into the playoffs and being able to make some noise. Um, so those are the two that we expected, but there are two series that we did get wrong in our brackets, and these are two series that are going to be rough for me to talk about because they're both of my World Series teams are out.
One of mine is out.
Yeah, and both of our World Series
Champ.
champions are out, but we're going to get to that later. Right now, we have to talk about the Yankees Red Sox. Um, I thought after how Game One went, we hit the nail on the head with our predictions. In this game, it was a pitcher's duel between Garrett Crochet and Max Fried. The Yankees were able to get one on the board off of an Anthony Volpe homer off of Crochet.
Yeah.
But then when Max Fried came out, the bullpen blew it. And this time it was Luke Weaver, who has been the most reliable pitcher for the Yankees ever since he got there.
Yeah.
And he it's when he is blowing it, that's when you're kind of like, okay, absolutely nothing's gonna go right for the Yankees, and it wasn't gonna look good for them.
Well, yes, he blew it, but I believe they were unearned.
Um,
Am I wrong?
they no, they were earned.
Okay, I
Uh,
just
it
messed up here.
yeah, I believe he came in with uh the bases empty.
I know he didn't get an out
Yeah, he didn't get an out, gave up two earned runs on two hits, one walk.
and a walk.
I think he might have left the game with at least one of them not scored yet, and then Fernando Cruz came in to get those
Okay,
two
maybe
outs,
that's what it
and he
was.
might have given up those runs for him.
Okay.
But they were both earned runs credited to Luke Weaver.
Yeah,
So
it's what we thought. We worried. We thought this bullpen was going to be a strength after the deadline, and it imploded. And those guys that had struggled, I mean, Devin Williams actually pitched an inning and didn't give up anything, so good for him. But David Bednar also didn't make it through an inning, gave up a run. So it's kind of what we expected. If their starter can't go deep into a game, this bullpen's not good enough. They should be, but they just haven't been good enough to be able to close out games. And um, you had a lead going into that game late into the seventh, so that's one that you can't lose. And that should have been a huge momentum shift in this series for the Red Sox to kind of catapult them.
and a big thing that I noticed that we had talked about, I think either the night of or the night after this game, is that I didn't realize how like seriously Aaron Boone was going to deploy his platoon, because in game one, Jazz
Yeah.
Chisholm wasn't playing second. That was Ahmed Rosario.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan McMahon wasn't playing third. They had Jose Caballero playing third, and Ben Rice was in the lineup, who has been a steady bat that you could rely on, and
Oldie.
may not be able to play a lot of positions well, but have been able to play a lot of positions. He's been able to catch, been able to play first, been able to play third, and having all three of those guys out of the lineup, it was kind of an interesting decision. But they all hit lefty. You can understand where Aaron Boone's coming from. Um,
I
game
still don't
two,
like it.
I don't like it either, especially when Jazz has been your best hitter
Yeah,
outside of
that
Aaron.
that was my biggest issue with it. Like Goldie race against lefties, so I see him starting first over Ben Rice. Like that's fine. Um, Ryan McMahon, you traded for him to kind of give you that pop and to play defense. Um, so if you were really worried about the bat there, okay, fine. Jose Caballero can play third, but I don't like Jazz coming out of this lineup. He's hit lefties decent enough, but he's just that spark plug for you that kind of brings the energy. Plays good defense. He's got speed. He can cause trouble on the base path. That's just a player that I'm not willing to take out of my lineup. So I did not like that. The other ones I can make an argument for, especially the Ben Rice one, but I don't like Chisholm out of the lineup.
I don't know. I almost would have been willing to let Ben Rice catch in this game over Austin
Okay,
Wells.
that's fair. I was more looking at the first base aspect of how
Yeah,
Goldie hits
you
lefty.
get Goldie starting at first.
That's
Uh,
great defense and a bat that he mashes against lefties.
yeah, I just don't understand Ahmed Rosario. Like, I don't really
Wow.
understand any of it. The most understandable thing about it is Goldie starting against the lefty.
And he should. Every lefty he should start against.
Yeah, and then like I said, we thought this was going to be just how the series was going to go for the Yankees after what happened in Game One. But then they showed a little bit of life in Game Two. This was a matchup between. Sorry, I'm trying to
Rodon
find
and
the pitcher.
Bayo.
Yeah, Rodon and Brian Bayo, and Trevor Story had a really good game. He had a homer. He had three RBIs. He had a couple big hits, but it was the guys that
In
a
game
lot of it
two,
was the guys that a lot, huh?
in game two,
Yeah,
Ben Rice had a home run.
yeah. I'm
Who
talking about
pitched
for the
him?
Red Sox. For the
Oh,
Red Sox.
okay. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay,
Yeah, for the
Trevor
Red
Story had a good
Sox.
game.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the Red Sox, Trevor Story was the only one because he hit a homer, had 3 RBIs, a couple big hits.
Yeah.
But a lot of it for the Yankees was the guys that some of the guys that were sitting out. Ben Rice got to play this game because it was against a righty. He hit a homer. Uh, Jazz Chisholm scored a big run late in the game. Uh,
And
had some
Judge is
really good
doing
base
Judge
running.
things.
Aaron Judge, he only had
He was 2 for 4.
he was 2 for 4. Yeah, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Um, I think Trent Grisham might have had a big hit in that game
He had
too.
a double, yeah.
Uh, and the Yankees bullpen was able to hold on in this one, and the Yankees offense was able to get to the Red Sox bullpen in this.
My issue with this game is with Alex Cora. I don't like how he managed his pitching staff in this game. I don't understand why you pull Brian Bayo after 2 1/3. Like you are setting yourself up to struggle the rest of this game because your bullpen is not good enough to go 7 innings. Um, he gave up 4 hits, 2 earned, and a walk in his 2 1/3. Like I get that's not amazing, but you're at 28 pitches is all he had, I believe. His pitch count was 28, and you pulled him. Like you
Yeah,
can't do that with when you're bringing in Wilson, Slayton, Matz, Kelly, Whitlock, and Tolley. Like that is not an acceptable play. Like I get you're trying to win this game and end it, but you hurt yourself by putting that bullpen into the game for 7 innings.
yeah, I don't like it, but I give him a little bit of grace only because that is just how the playoffs are
I
managed.
don't care. I don't like it. Your bullpen
I
is not good enough to win you that game. Like I get you're like, okay, we need to win this game. He's not at his best right now, but that is not a bullpen that can hang on and win this game.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And with a lot of the names that we brought up, like Garrett Whitlock has been super reliable, Steven Matz has been super
And
reliable, but
Whitlock struggled. He was the one who got the loss in
he
this.
was, yeah. But bringing in, you're relying a lot on Justin Wilson and Zach Kelly and Justin Slayton.
Those are not names you want to rely on.
Yeah, a lot of your middle relief guys who struggled throughout a lot of the season,
And is
and
that
then
my boy,
yeah,
Tolley?
Peyton Toll, yeah, who
Yeah.
I also like don't love having him
No, he
big
shouldn't
spots
be
in
on this
the
roster.
lineup. So yeah, it there's a lot that you question about it, but also this is just how the playoffs are managed at this point. Every single manager that you'll find in the playoffs, whenever their starter gets in trouble, they have a super quick hook with them. And I like it more if it's a team like the Padres who have a really good bullpen. I'm just using them as an example because they have the best bullpen in the league.
You can do that with a team like that.
But really, the only big pieces that you have in this bullpen for the Red Sox are Steven Matz, Garrett Whitlock, and Aroldis Chapman. And you just had Aroldis Chapman pitch a lot, I think, in game one. And then uh, Garrett Whitlock was the one that blew the game. So,
It's tough.
yeah. And then game three happened. And as we expected, this was the star studded pitching matchup in this winner go home game of Cam Schlitter versus Connolly Early.
What are we doing?
We're getting our rotations injured. That's what we're doing
Like
because we don't have
your
any
best
depth in our
option,
rotation right now.
that's your best option, Boston. Like you have no one else.
So I think going into it, they were expecting to rely on Lucas Giolito getting one of these starts, but he's hurt. He's having a little bit of an elbow issue right now, and that
I
is
don't care.
concerning.
It's win or go home. Figure it out. You can't
Well,
start him.
I, d- I don't know if they know exactly what the injury is yet, and if it's like he needs Tommy John again, that's rough. Uh, but yeah, if you look at the pitchers available in their rotation, it was either Connolly Early, Kyle Harrison, or Jose De Leon.
I don't like
And
any of those. Go out and get some freaking pitching this offseason. That's pathetic that that's what you were at.
yeah, I feel like they have other guys that have
Unacceptable.
to be hurt too.
Whether
I
they
know,
are or they aren't, go get some depth. That's not okay if you are a playoff caliber team that has a chance to win a World Series, and that's your pitching depth.
yeah, and he put in a valiant effort.
Did he?
He did. He had went scoreless through the first three, ran into some issues in the fourth.
Yeah, what happened in
Uh,
that fourth?
he gave up 4 runs,
Yeah.
and the Red Sox bullpen was able to hold on after that.
It did
But
its job,
yeah, but
shockingly.
Cam Schlitter pitched the game of his life.
Yes, he did.
He in that game he went 8 innings, no
Five
runs on
hits.
5 hits, no walks,
12
12
Ks.
strikeouts.
12 Ks. Cam
He pitched,
Schlitter was on fire.
he pitched. He would have outpitched what Garrett Crochet did in Game 1.
It's the best pitching performance of the postseason so far.
And then for the Yankees offense, they were able to string together a few hits. I don't think there were any super big, like any huge hits in that game. Uh,
Stanton and
there were
Bellinger had
there were
doubles.
2 doubles in that game, but I don't think either of them were run
No,
scoring.
they were not. RBIs came from Austin Wells, Ahmad Rosario, and Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, so the Yankees were able to string together a few hits against them in the fourth, and that was enough.
Yeah, and the Red Sox having 2 errors did not help their cause from Story and Lowe. That's a little rough there.
Yeah, I feel like Nathaniel Lowe has kind of just been
Meh.
a disaster for the Red Sox.
I mean, he hit 333 in the series, so at least he did something, but fielding is not great.
He hit 143 in the series.
Oh. I haven't missed 333.
I believe he went 1 for 7 with a single.
Some of these stats then are mega wrong on here. He might have.
Yeah, that's according to the box score on MLB or MLB.com.
Okay. Well, Bleacher
Uh,
Report is lying to me.
yeah, they definitely were. Yeah, but he came in for so they don't have to play Romy Gonzalez at first base anymore. But
It can't get any worse.
I don't know. I feel like I haven't been paying super close attention to him down the stretch, but I feel like he hasn't been playing all that well. And yeah, a big error that you just can't have.
No.
But yeah,
So the Yankees advance. Their pitching looked better, and ultimately that's what won them this series.
yeah, and I'm interested to see how that pitching holds up in
Yeah, let's
the
we'll get to
ALDS
talk.
against the
We'll
Blue
get to
Jays.
talk about them. They've played 2 games as of right now, so we'll end with them.
That's just what my thoughts were going into. Obviously,
100%.
again, we're playing like we're going into this with a little bit of hindsight, considering a couple of the games have been played so far in the ALDS. Uh,
All right, let's go to the least favorite series that happened.
yeah, so the Padres and the Cubs played each other, and the Padres pitching was good throughout the series. The
You know
issue
what wasn't?
was
Their
what was
bats.
yeah. I think
Non-existent.
so. Game 1, the score was 3-1, and Matthew Boyd He didn't go super deep into the game because I think he kind of did. Craig Counsell kind of did the same thing that Alex Cora did with Brian Bayo, and they pulled
He
him
still went
pretty
into the
early,
fifth.
went in danger. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, he went four and a third, gave up one run, and the Cubs in the fifth inning against Nick Pivetta hit back to back home runs with Seiya Suzuki and Carson Kelly, and that was really all they needed. They had
The
their
Cubs, the
big gun.
Cubs, the Cubs bullpen was lights out. They didn't give up a single hit.
Yeah, it was
So after
Daniel.
Boyd left the game, their Padres got nothing. They only had 4 hits that whole game. They all came off of Matthew Boyd.
Yeah, Daniel Palencia, Drew Pomeranz, Andrew Kittredge, and Brad Keller combined for 4 and 2/3 innings, shutout, no
Four
hit.
strikeouts, no hits.
And outs Jeremiah Estrada gave up a run, but they had their big guys going. They had Adrian Morahan, they had Mason Miller, Wandy
Doesn't matter if
Peralta
you don't score runs.
cleaned it up, but yeah, their offense just couldn't get anything going. Uh, Jackson Merrill and Xander Bogaerts both hit doubles, but that was it in terms of extra base hits. And then Freddie Fermin and another hit by Xander Bogaerts were the only other hits. So they were hoping for a bounce back going into game two, and they just didn't get it at all. Yeah, they did. They
I
scored three
mean,
runs. I'm sorry, I had that score
three
flipped.
runs.
The Padres did score 3 runs in that game, so they did get a bounce back. Uh, Dylan Cease, don't know why he went 3 and 2/3 innings.
He only had 69 pitches. He should have
Yeah,
been in longer.
and that's another thing. I going into that same thing. Hate how the postseason is managed.
The
Um,
difference is this is a bullpen that can handle that.
they can. I don't love Adrian Morahan pitching 2 1/3 innings
No.
after pitching a inning the night before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's nice when you need what 2, 3, 4, 5 and a third innings, and you can only use 3 guys, and they're filthy.
And then on the Cubs side, they used Andrew Kittredge as an opener.
I hate
Like
this.
they didn't know that Shota Imanaga was going to be the starter.
That's so stupid.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. And the Padres jumped on him pretty early on. Well, I guess not.
You give up a run,
He gave up a run, and
and then
then
Menard
Shota
gave
gave
up
up two in the fifth. Uh, Again, after Shota came out of the game, their bullpen pitched great. 2 hits
four
in
innings.
the final 4 innings. But yeah, the Cubs had 4 hits in this game.
You got to
There,
score if you want to win.
yeah, there wasn't a lot of offense in this series as a whole. And then game three happened, and game three there was, I guess you could say, a little bit of controversy.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with them. It was a bad call.
so it's 3-0 going to the ninth inning. Padres score a run, and then Xander Bogaerts is up to bat, and
Freaky
probably
pitch.
the worst strike call we're gonna see of the series. They ring up
Oh, for sure.
Xander Bogaerts on a ball that was a couple
Low
inches below the zone.
low and outside.
Yeah, low and outside, and
That
it
would have made the bases
wasn't.
loaded, correct?
I don't. That one wouldn't have, but there were back to back
Oh,
walks
then
right
he
after that.
hit somebody and walked somebody, so it would have
Yeah,
been bases loaded, nobody out.
yeah. So would it have been no out or would have been one out?
Oh.
I know that wasn't the third out of the
Okay.
inning,
All I know
obviously.
was the last out of the game would have been a sac fly. There still would have been a runner on base, and they would have been down by one. So, would the outcome have changed? I don't know. Um,
It would have made it a lot closer though.
but it would have been a one-run game with the tying run on base still.
The tying and go ahead run on base.
Yeah.
With let's see, the last out was Freddie Fermin, so it would have been Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
up
And you're
with
bringing
It would have been it would have just been the tying run that was on base, but
Yeah,
he would have been a tying run on third
with Tatis at bat.
with Tatis up.
That could very
Ta-
well have been an extra inning game.
yeah, it's
And in that game, they had not pitched Mason Miller yet. So you would have had a guy that can go multiple innings and throw filth against a tired Cubs bullpen.
yeah, it's rough for that to be how the Padres season ends. I will say it wasn't the last out of the game, so they did have
No,
that opportunity.
no, and like I said, it could it have changed the outcome? Sure. Would it have? We don't know. Tatis was 0 for 4 in that game. Like he could have, popped up and struck out or whatever, and it ended the game either way. You just hate to see a call that is that bad um, to take an opportunity away.
Also, again, Mike Schilt pulled Yu Darvish way too quickly. He pulled him in the second inning.
Yeah,
He only got 3 outs in this game.
he didn't look good though.
Well, no, but
This one's more
you're
understandable to me because Yu Darvish hasn't pitched well all year since he's come back, and this is an elimination game, and you do have the bullpen that can carry you. So this one I'm not as upset about, especially when the person who gave up, I guess he had already given up 2 runs. The only other pitcher that gave up runs was Ranger Suarez. So, um, it is what it is. It sucks that that's how the season comes to an end, but you had every opportunity to put the bat on the ball, and they didn't do it. There's too much danger in this lineup between Tatis, Arise, Machado, Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, Ryan O'Hearn, and even Freddie Fermin has been great since he got traded over there. It's unacceptable that they have that few of hits and that few of runs in this series. It's completely on the hitters.
yeah, it's rough whenever, especially whenever it's a team like the Padres, who the last few years have been good just about every year, and they've just never been able to get over that hump. With a team that has still never won a World Series in their franchise history, you would hope that this year, with the firepower they had in their bullpen, with the names they have in their offense, you would hope that this is a year that they would be able to make some noise, especially with how rough their season ended last year, losing in a game 7 to their biggest rival that
Yeah.
ended up going on to win the World Series. Like,
Well, if you look at this from hindsight and you go, the Cubs scored 6 runs in 3 games, you assume the Padres won that series.
yeah.
But you can't score 5 runs in 3 games and expect to win either. So both offenses weren't good. And I fully expect, unless the Cubs can figure out how to hit, that they're not going to advance past the Brewers.
Yeah, let's look at these what's happened so far in these division series. We'll start with the Dodgers and the Phillies. They've only played one game so far, so we're not too far off. The Dodgers did win that game 5-3, and I believe from what I saw, this is the first game in Major League history, or first
Yes.
playoff game in Major League history at least,
Yes.
that the pitcher that got the win and the pitcher that got the save were both from Japan. So
It's also
doesn't
the
really
first time
matter,
that
but
a
it's
pitcher has started and hit as a position player. Yes, DH is a position player. In MLB history, too. But this is the series I wanted to talk about. Ultimately, this series, what happened in Game One? Shohei Ohtani, they got to him a little bit early. What did he give up? Two through
three,
5 2/3, three.
3 through 6.
My Bleacher Report is so bad because these are not the numbers that I have. I have 5 2/3, two earned, but I could have swore he gave up three, so that makes more sense. They got to him early, and he looked okay. Um, he got quite a few strikeouts. I think he had 9. So he pitched fine. See, now it's updating. What is it's stupid?
Yeah,
Um,
six innings, 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 walk,
Nine
9 strikeouts.
strikeouts. Okay. He looked okay. Like his stuff was good. At the end of his game, he got two strikeouts in that sixth inning, bookending the inning with the two big curveballs to strike him out. Um, but the big things that happened here were the Hernandezes. Kind of shocking that one was Kike, who came up big for him to get him back into this game because they were down 3-0, and Kike Hernandez on a 0-2 pitch pulled one down the line, scoring 2 runs to get him back in this to make it a 3-2 game. And then the big bomb from Teoscar, 3-run home run to put him up, which ultimately was the difference in the game. Um, but Sanchez looked awesome for the Phillies. He looked really good. He ended up, getting those 2 runs allowed at the end there. He just didn't bury a slider, left it up in the zone enough for Kike to get a hold of it. Um, but I think the other big story on this, outside of I don't think the Phillies hit enough, was did you see how bad Otani looked at the plate? Did you
I
watch
didn't. I
the
didn't.
game?
I didn't get a chance to watch this game.
His first four
Unfortunately.
at bats were 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, and two of them were fastballs down the middle looking. He looked lost. His last at bat, he got a walk, and it was just nothing was close. But he looked bad, and that's not good for the Dodgers, especially when he looked so good in the first series. Um, you can't have Otani go 0 for 4 and Betts go 0 for 5 throughout this series and expect to beat the Phillies. You're going to need them. Freddie Freeman, I thought, looked the best in his at bats. I know he had a walk, he had at least 1 or 2 hits. Tommy Edman had another hit, just looking good. But the Dodgers defense, I think, came up big in this game. Max Muncy made a big play at third to double up. I don't remember who it was. Double up somebody. It was a big play in this game. But um, you have some worries there with the Dodgers if Betts and Otani don't get going against them. But my other thing was this one. This is what I was talking about with how the pitchers were used. You start out with Otani. Tyler Glasgow comes Glass now. Gosh, I can't say his name. Comes in relief. Then Alex Vezia comes in because the bases are loaded to get a final out. And then to close the game was Roki Sasaki. Like, this is using pitchers all over the place, and it ended up working out for him. So this is a series I'm interested to see how he uses that pitching rotation, because Glasnow and Sasaki are starters. So it looks like they're going to rely on Snell, Otani, and Yamamoto as their 3 starters. Maybe that 4th starter is Clayton Kershaw, and then they're just rolling with Glasnow and Sasaki out of the bullpen. I think this
They
is
also
fascinating.
they also have Emmett Sheehan pitching out of the bullpen
And
too.
Emma Sheen, yeah. So I think this is going to be fascinating to see how these starters do in relief roles. Most people are like, oh, no big deal. They're starters. They can go several innings. But it's a completely different game coming out of the bullpen, especially if you're not starting an inning. It's a very different thing, and seeing how they react to it is going to be interesting. So far, Glass looked good. Sasaki looked good in their outings. It was just very weird to see them come out that way. So
Yeah. So some things that I have to say about what you said is, yeah, Shohei didn't look good. Mookie Betts didn't look good in this game, but a lot of what the Dodgers' mo in the postseason has been is a lot of these guys that you don't like. A lot of these more role player type guys have always been
the Chris
the ones
Taylors,
coming up with big
those
hits.
type of guys.
Chris Taylor, Kike. That's been Kike Hernandez.
That's his mo.
Yeah, that has
Comes
been
in
his
clutch.
career ever since his first stint with the Dodgers.
Well,
He
and
was never.
other players had that kind of thing going on too. Like it wasn't the big guys. Like Alex Call had an infield single. Andy Pajes had at least one hit, and he came up really big in a couple of spots. Um, so it was these
Tommy
smaller.
Edman was the NLCS MVP last
Yeah,
year, and he didn't have like he hit a lot more home runs than he normally does, but he didn't have a great offensive season this year,
no.
and
I,
he
I
still
look at the
finished with big hits
Dodgers
in
and
the
I
playoffs.
think of them like if I think of their offense, I think Otani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, and Teoscar Hernandez. And outside of Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman I thought had good at bats, but like for the most part, those guys didn't do anything.
Yeah, and then when you look at the Phillies side of things, uh, it's unfortunate that Christopher Sanchez seems like he just kind of ran out of gas and gave up those 2 runs in the
It really
sixth.
was just one pitch of a slider not being buried and in enough.
And then in the seventh, I mean, David Robertson and Matt Strom both gave up runs in that seventh, and that kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back there. So you'd think the Phillies have enough to be able to fight that off because they still have a very deep rotation, but you don't have Zach Wheeler. Ranger Suarez is hurt, and I don't know exactly what the injury is. Uh, or is he injured? DD. What does that even mean?
Designated driver.
Day to day, maybe. I think that's what it is. What is it? There's a thing. Yeah,
For
day to
who?
day for Ranger Suarez.
Oh.
So Jesus Luzardo is pitching tomorrow in Game Two, and then they also have Aaron Nola, and they picked Walker Bueller up off the scrap heap. So it's you hope that's enough because I want, especially after what the National League field looks like right now, I want the Phillies to do good because
Yeah,
it's the
that's who I'm
Dodgers and
pulling
two NL
for.
Central teams, but their offense looked. I mean, they had big hits, but it didn't look necessarily like what you'd hope, like what you want
No,
the Phillies
you
offense to look like.
you need Trey Turner to get on base and cause some havoc. You need Schwarber to Schwarber bomb some stuff. Harper only had a single in that. I believe it was the ninth inning to get two guys on to give him a chance. Alec Boehm had two walks, so I'm not going to complain about it. He at least took good at bats. Brandon Marsh had a big hit in the ninth inning to get it started. I don't like Edmundo Sosa playing, period, anymore. JT Realmuto was good, so that's what you need out of him. Um, Harrison Bader came in to play defense, and man, did he make a good play in defense to keep that game close. He broke for a ball that I don't think anyone thought was going to get caught, and he made a great sliding catch to save some runs. So um, he also had a sac fly. So you got to get it. I it comes down to the big guys in this. Who's going to come up clutch for them? Um, and if it's all these little guys, the guys that you don't expect to do it, then you should expect the Dodgers to win the series because that's the MO of their not stars is to come up clutch in these games. The Phillies need Trey Turner. They need Kyle Schwarber. They need Bryce Harper. They need Alec Boehm. They need Castellanos to do anything, look like a decent baseball player for once. But I'm not counting them out. Um, I don't know. I like the Dodgers pitching more than theirs, and that's why I struggle with seeing the Phillies getting through this one now with all their injuries.
Yeah, you also look at how deep, like we said, there's 4 starters in the Dodgers bullpen right now. Their starters are just so deep, and so you
Mm.
have a bullpen that can give you multiple innings at one
Well,
time.
yeah, this is a bullpen where, gosh, why am I blanking on their manager's name? I can see his face, and I
Dave
can't.
Roberts.
Dave Roberts. Gosh, this is a bullpen where Dave Roberts can go. You don't look right in inning one or two, and you gave up a run early. You put multiple guys on base. I'm pulling you. I've got 4 starters in the bullpen that can go 5, 6 innings for me, and it not be an issue for my bullpen. And I think that's a huge weapon to have, and I think that's going to be hard to beat with the Phillies if they can't get to a starter early.
Yeah, I think in the National League, this is going to be the series that a lot of people have eyes on just because it's the series with the star power, and it's the series that is the coastal elitists are going to love because it's East Coast versus West Coast, and the other one is just the Midwest. Uh,
Which which is let's go to that one because I think as much as people are watching the other one, they need to keep their eyes on the Brewers because they've figured out how to hit the ball.
yeah, so in this game, the Brewers won 9-3, and they scored all those runs in the first two innings.
Yeah,
And it's unfortunate for the Cubs because if they the Brewers scored a lot of those because Nico Horner committed an error, and Nico Horner is a Gold Glove second baseman, one of the best in the league, and he they end up giving up four unearned runs after that because of that error. So it's good on the Brewers, but also it's just an unfortunate situation for the Cubs. Uh, Matthew Boyd wasn't able
didn't even
to
make it out of
recover
the
from
first
that.
inning.
Yeah, didn't even get out of the first inning. Michael Soroka came in. He gave up 3 runs in the
Looked
second.
like trash, like we said he was going to when they traded for him.
Yeah, Aaron Savali and Ben Brown kind of was able to right the ship a
Aaron
little bit.
Savali shut everything down and kind of held this game
Yeah, he
to where
went
they have a chance.
four and a third scoreless, gave up 3 hits, struck out three, didn't walk anyone. And Ben Brown went 2 innings with 3 strikeouts. But Freddie looked really good. Pitched 5 and 2/3, gave up 2 runs. Their bullpen it was Aaron Ashby, Jared Koenig, and there is a starter again. Or oh no, sorry, this I saw Mears and I thought it was uh, a different guy. And Nick Mears, all three of those guys pitched well. Jared
What a
Koenig
bullpen.
gave up a run, but
What a bullpen.
yeah, I mistook this guy for a different guy. That's about where the Brewers bullpen is right now. But they're all good, and that's the thing. There's a lot
There's
of
no
guys.
names that nobody knows about that people need to start paying attention to, and they will as soon as the Brewers go to the next round, potentially the World Series, because this is a sneaky good team.
Yeah,
And their bats came alive.
I can't get over the fact that they fixed Andrew Vaughn.
Yeah, he looks like a legit dude now. I mean, he was a former top prospect, and the White Sox ruined him.
He kind of came back to earth towards the end of the season. He finished with a 718 OPS.
Well, he was
Uh,
on fire as soon as they got him, though.
how much? What was?
While you look that up, Jackson Churio was 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Bryce Terang was 2 for 5. William Contreras was 2 for 5. Christian Yelich was 1 for 4. Andrew Vaughn was 1 for 3. Sal Frelick was 1 for 5. Durbin was 1 for 4. Bryce Perkins was 2 for 4. Outside of Collins and Ortiz, everyone on this team had a hit. Like they were a lot, and there was not a single home run in those 9 runs. There were multiple doubles and just a lot of singles. This team kind of reminds me a little bit of those Royals teams from a few years back, where it was just death by 1,000 cuts. We're going to put the ball in play. We're going to make you play defense, and we're going to run the bases well, and we're going to pitch well, and our bullpen's going to shut you out. And they played it well.
Yeah, they're a very fundamental team. We both gave predict that Pat Murphy was going to end up winning Manager of the Year this year, and that's something big that he brought over. And it was even kind of like that before when Craig Counsell was their manager, but Craig Counsell actually credits Pat Murphy for a lot of that back from when Pat Murphy was coaching him when he was in college at Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well,
So
and how much is Milwaukee gonna love beating the Cubs with Craig Counsell over there, leaving them going to the Cubs? Just gonna make it that much sweeter.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I'm here
scared.
for it.
I'm scared of what the Brewers can do because I don't want to see them go farther than they need to. I'll allow
They're
them
good.
to beat, I'll allow them to beat the Cubs, but I'm
I
gonna need.
mean, this is a team that you should be talking about potentially making and winning a World Series. Um, I said from the beginning, my biggest issue with the Brewers was their bats, and I said there were a certain few players that they're going to need to help push this line along if they want a chance to win. If they can do that, they're dangerous. Well, they've done that, and they are now dangerous.
By the way, Andrew Vaughn, 868 OPS in 64 games towards the end of the season with the Brewers.
Wasn't he like a 400 OPS player before he came there? Like it was
500.
bad.
500.
Okay, sorry,
He has a
500. It
he has
was
a
bad.
career OPS in the 700s, but this year it was in the 500s with the White Sox, and then he moved over
He
to the
was
Brewers.
he was a minor league player. Like that's how bad he had been.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to end up being one of those quadruple A
Yeah.
guys.
All right. Which AL series do you want to talk about first? Both have played 2 games now.
Let's talk about the Yankees and the Blue Jays.
Good. The Yankees suck and the Blue Jays are destroying them, and I'm here for it. That's all that needs to be said. That and Trey Savage is a savage.
Yeah, 10-1 and 13-7 have been these scores so far. And I'd like to talk about who all has been performing well for the Blue Jays, but
Everyone.
they've scored 23 runs in 2 games. Uh, just in
Vladdy.
game two, one, two, three, four, 5 home runs. Because Ernie Clement, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 2 from Dalton Varsho, 1 from George Springer,
Didn't
and
Alejandro Kirk have one?
I think that was game
Or
one.
game two? Game two, Alejandro Kirk had two, and Vladdy had one.
That was game two. Game two, that those 5 that I talked about were game one. Alejandro Kirk hit 2 and Vladdy hit 1.
Vladdy hit one. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so 8 home runs in the first 2 games.
Yeah, and Kevin Gosman looked really good in game one. He went 5 2/3, gave up one, only 4 hits. So that's what you like to see. Those are kind of the numbers that you expect out of starters. Like in the postseason, if you get 5 innings, that's kind of what you're looking for. And then the Yankees, Luis Heel didn't make it 3, didn't look great. Um, Luke Weaver again didn't make it out of an inning and gave up 3. So you got to worry about that. And then Paul Blackburn just got annihilated to close out the game. It was not good for their bullpen. And Cruz gave up 1. I forgot about him. It just wasn't good for their bullpen. It wasn't good for their start. Like this is what we said about the Yankees: is their starting pitching, their bullpen. It's just not good enough. Um, I was shocked they made it out of the first series, but we're seeing in this series that weakness that we expected to cause them some issues.
Game two, Max Fried gave up 7 runs in 3 innings,
Yeah, he
and
did.
Will Warren gave up 6 runs in 4 2/3 innings of relief.
Hey, but Luke Weaver came in and got an out and didn't give up any runs, so that's a positive for him.
Why did every single pitcher on the Blue Jays pitch in game two?
They wanted to get him a little action, a little postseason action.
Justin Broyle gave up 2 runs in, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Gave up two
I don't
runs
even know.
in a third of an inning, but then Braden Fisher, Eric Lauer, uh,
Did everyone get hurt?
Mason Fluharty, and what is this guy's name?
Something Nance.
Tommy Nance all pitched a third of an inning, leading up to Louis Varland and Sir Anthony Dominguez pitching the eighth and the ninth. I
I don't
don't
know
think
what they
everyone
were
got hurt.
doing. Well, let's see. 3 hits, so you can take him out. And then Fisher gives you a third to end the 6th inning.
Yeah,
Then
that makes sense, I
then
guess.
you start the seventh inning. Lauer gives up 3 hits, you pull him. Nance gives up 3 hits, you pull him. And then Flaherty
Fluharty finishes the
finishes
that,
with a
so
third.
that
So
makes
you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers go a third of an inning to end the 6th and the 7th.
I didn't realize the Yankees scored all their runs in the sixth and seventh inning.
Yeah. On those four guys.
Yes,
Well, keep Fisher and Flaherty out of it. They closed out innings. The other three were bad. And then
yeah,
Trey Savage set the Blue Jays postseason record. He went 5 1/3, no hits, one walk, 11 Ks. This kid is a stud.
yeah. So the Yankees are on the brink of elimination now. Good. uh,
Who are they going to pitch? Is Schlitter coming in? It's got to be Cam Schlitter for this last game, for game
um,
3.
the projected starters for Game 3 are Shane Bieber and Carlos Rodon.
Why are you starting? Oh, okay, whatever. You're going to let Schlitter not pitch again after he was dominant.
I
You've
think
had enough days. Pitch. Rodon's not good anymore.
he had a 3.09 ERA this season.
I
18
don't
and
like
9.
him. I don't like him. Give
I
me
think
Schlitter. I
that's the
want
guy.
more of the fun.
I know Cam Schlitter is turning into a cult hero just because of that one performance, but you
He will
gotta
never
let.
be a cold hero. He plays for the Yankees. Screw them.
But I think you gotta lean on Carlos Rodon
You for sure do. You want the veteran
in
in
that
there.
situation.
I just want it for the fun. I don't want to see them get swept and we don't get to see another game of Cam Schlitter. So part of me wants Rodon to get the win so that Cam Schlitter can get blown up and then his little moment is over and the Yankees are back to terrible.
Well, they are playing that game at Yankee Stadium. If that helps at all, maybe they can
Does
sneak
that
one.
help? They've given up 8 home runs in 2 games. That is not going to help them.
I'm trying to find any way to get Cam Schlitter back on the mound.
No, the Blue Jays are going
Maybe
to
he'll pig,
destroy them.
maybe he'll piggyback with Rodon.
Aaron Judge was like, "Oh, it's only 0-2. We've been here before." Yeah, you're not winning this. Shut up, Judge.
I mean, you've been there before. No, you have you? I don't think you have.
I don't know if he has been. I don't know. Let's talk about the most interesting series, in my opinion. That's the Tigers Mariners.
Yeah, the
This is a pitching lover's dream, and I'm here for every second of it because I think these are two of the best. Well, not two of the best. The best rotation and the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, and if you look at how the series went so far, it's 1-1. In game one, it was Troy Melton versus George Kirby. That's a gross pitching matchup. Why did they have him
Because they
matching up with George
played a
Kirby?
series before this.
I mean, I guess, yeah, but like
Because they've already pitched their 1 and 2. And Scooble and Flaherty already pitched.
pitch him again.
And who else? And who else? There was one other pitcher who pitched in that first series.
It was Melton pitched
Okay.
in that
Is
series.
Melton above Casey Mize? Is Mize going to pitch?
Melton pitched out of relief
Okay.
in the first time he pitched.
Well, he did a good enough job. Um,
Yeah, that's the game the Tigers won
yeah.
because
He
Gary Carpenter
hit a bomb
is the clutchest man on earth when it comes to the playoffs.
against certain players.
He hit a grand. I think he didn't hit a grand slam. He had a couple big home runs though last year against the Guardians in the ALDS. The Tigers just didn't win that series. But
My biggest takeaway from this game, one, um, the Tigers bullpen held down the fort. They did a great job. My second takeaway from this series, or game one of this series, is you cannot have no hits from anyone not named Kyle Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez if you want to win this series. Game one, they had 6 hits, and Kyle Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez had 3 each. Those were the only 6 hits of the game.
where look through the Mariners lineup though, and who do you expect those to come from? Like you'd hope Josh Naylor, sure.
You
But
hope
like
Josh Naylor, you hope Jorge Polanco, you hope Eugenio Suarez because you just traded a buttload to get him back, and you hope Randy Arozarena, who
Randy,
was
Ro-
your fun little playoff hero a few years back for the Tampa Bay. You hope that he becomes clutch again.
the,
Um,
the shine on Randy has rubbed off. Jorge Polanco is not good. I think he had a fine year this year. Yeah,
you need
821
Naylor and
OPS.
Suarez to be a part of this. You need to have those four guys hitting. And Suarez, the problem is he can't hit in Seattle, and he is a strikeout or home run guy only, basically. They want to keep talking about a guy with however many home runs he ended up with. That's
What do you
fine. His batting average still wasn't great by the end of the year. Once he went back to Seattle, he wasn't good.
This year he had a 683 OPS this year uh in Seattle. 13 home runs in 53 games with
He's on an
99.
expiring contract. It would be in his best interest to sign with a team that never travels to Seattle because he cannot hit there.
The issue with the Mariners is it's always going to be like such a top heavy lineup. Like you have to rely on Cal and Julio, and they
They're
showed
good.
out. But
But Rowley's
you
three hits
don't.
were all singles.
Yeah, Julio did hit a homer.
He had a bomb.
But if you can't get production from anyone else, it's a bad sign for what's to come for your World Series prediction.
I mean, that's fine. Let's talk about game two then.
Yeah, game two, they
What's
didn't
today?
get.
This afternoon.
It was today as we're recording this. They didn't get much production from the other guys, but they got some.
They had eight hits.
Yeah, Jorge Polanco came through. He had 3 hits in this game. He hit 2 home runs. He decided that it was his turn to put his team on his back. Julio also had an RBI in this game, and uh,
Arozarena had a hit. Mitch Garver had a hit. Justin Crawford had a hit. You at least are getting some help along the way.
it's not
Um,
0 hits. Yeah.
Eugenio Suarez, though, I believe is 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. So, way to trade for that guy.
Well, then on Tuesday or whenever the next game is, he's gonna hit 3 home runs.
No, he's going to go 1 for 12 in this series, but it'll be a walk off, and everyone's going to love him, even though he's been trash. Um,
The Mariners pitched amazing in this game.
Again,
They
Luis Castillo was great.
they only
Um,
got the only pitcher they got to was Matt Brash, giving up 2 in the 8th inning. One of them was unearned on an error by Josh Naylor, and
can't do
then
that.
they got that offense off of Tarek Skubal. I mean, he still had a great game,
Yeah.
7 innings, gave up 2 runs, struck out 9. Kyle Finnegan gave up a run in 2/3 of an innings, and then Herder ended up finishing the game off for them, Brant Herder. But uh, yeah, they end up winning that. They stole one off of Tarek.
And which is what we said they needed to do if they were going to win the series. You need to win one of the two that Scooble's going to pitch.
So Cody, going through those series, how do you see things turning out?
I still like Seattle. I know that offense hasn't been great, um, but I still just love that pitching too much, and I don't like Detroit's pitching enough. Outside of Tarek Skubal, I don't trust anybody. You're relying on Flaherty, Melton, Mize, and I don't like the back end of that bullpen enough. Best and Finnegan are really your only two guys back there. Not a huge fan of that. And I really like Andre Munoz in the back end of Seattle's bullpen. He's been lights out and he looks electric. So I just think Seattle's pitching is too good here, unless only two guys can hit the ball. Otherwise, I think Seattle still is going to win this one. New York's dead. They're done. They don't have the pitching, front end, back end. They're not good. They're done. So we can just go ahead and the, let's be for real. MLB is going to hate this. The AL Championship Series is going to be Toronto and Seattle. I love it because it's two teams who haven't been there in forever, and I love to see it. These not huge markets spending $1 billion teams doing well, and I'm here for that series. I will be tuned into every game of that series.
Even if it's
Um,
Toronto and Detroit.
it's not gonna be, but I gotta get Seattle through. But even if it's not, you're getting three of the four teams are not big market teams, and you're gonna have somebody representing the AL that hasn't represented the AL in a long time. So I love it. Um, the NL side of it, though, I hate to say it, but I think the Dodgers are going to win this one. And I do think the Brewers are just going to be too much for the Cubs, which I love and hate at the same time. And then I think the Brewers are going to surprise a lot of people with how well they're going to match up against the Dodgers. They are a sneaky good team, and as long as that starting pitching holds up, it's going to be interesting. So I've got the Brewers pulling through on the Cubs still, and unfortunately, I have the Dodgers beating the Phillies as much as I'm pulling for the Dodgers to lose. Um, I think that they've just got too much pitching. When you've got four starters in the bullpen, that's just a weapon that's hard to replicate for anybody.
My whole thing is I feel like right now the one seeds are proving why they're the one seeds. Like we came into this saying that the teams that play in the wild card series are going to have an advantage because they've played, and that's because that's what the history has shown.
We are wrong.
Yeah, the Brewers and the Blue Jays are
They look
really good.
dominant.
They're really good, and it's especially after seeing some of the Mariners' offensive performances in Game One. I do think the Mariners are going to get past the Tigers, but I struggle to see how they're going to get past the Blue Jays.
Bats
Considering,
got to come alive. Bats got to come alive, or they're not advancing.
yeah, considering
Pitching
they
can only take
didn't
you so
even
far.
throughout that dominance, they didn't pitch Shane Bieber, they didn't pitch Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
Like it was
I
from
mean, I'm
Kevin
not as high on
McCarthy.
Scherzer as you probably are. I think he's washed at this point. But
He had a
he's
four.
still he's still a bulldog type that you don't. He's crafty. He's a pitcher. He's not a thrower. So that's always something you got to worry about. He's been there. He's done that. Um, and he's going to give you innings even if he gets down early. He's a guy that'll be like, hey, throw me until my arm falls off. Save the bullpen. We'll come back and win this tomorrow. So I love that kind of mentality. So it's going to be tough to beat the Blue Jays with their offense clicking the way it is, and their pitching's been good. If Bieber looks like old Bieber, um, this is a very good rotation. I just worry about their bullpen.
Yeah, for Scherzer, he had roughly a 4 ERA this year. He's has a lot of postseason experience with every team he's been on. He's won 2 World Series. I'm sure he probably wants to go out with another one, and we might be seeing the last of Max Scherzer if the Blue
Yeah,
Jays do end up coming through with this. Having 3 World Series rings with 3 different teams is a uh, pretty cool mark on your career. I don't love the Blue Jays bullpen, but this offense just looks. It's going to be interesting to see how this offense matches up against the Mariners pitching. And then the Brewers are just so fundamentally sound. It's
yeah,
so hard for me to bet
it's
against
hard to
them
bet
right now.
against them.
And I tried to I purposely bet against them in a lot of ways in our previous brackets just because I don't want to
Yeah,
see.
well, the Padres screwed us, so
Yeah, it's because I didn't want to see an NL Central team make it that far, and also the Brewers. No matter how good they look, they always find a way to blow it. But they
they're not losing to the
look
Cubs.
they look like a different team than they
The
have in years
Cubs don't have
past.
the starters to win.
Yeah, but even if you match them up against the Phillies or against the Dodgers, I think the Brewers match up better than I think the league is hoping.
No, 100.
Because
No, I said the Cubs don't have the starters to win.
Yeah, they're
There's
not.
no way
The
they're
Cubs
getting
aren't.
past the
I don't think the
Brewers.
Cubs are beating them.
No, I think the Brewers are good enough to beat anybody as long as their bats look like they have been. So that's all we got for what's happened so far. Some game twos will happen tomorrow. There are only a couple other things that I wanted to bring up real quick before we close. A couple big news things happen. Brian Snitker retires. He's no longer the Braves manager, so they'll be on the hunt. It looks like Pujols is going to be the manager of the Los Angeles Angels. It is not official yet, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. And then Skip Schumacher has been named the manager of the Texas Rangers. So some of our old Cardinal friends are getting those jobs. So good for them. We're excited for him. Skip is an underrated manager. He's going to be so good.
Yeah, I think Skip is one of the top 3 to 5 managers in the league. What he was able to do with that Marlins team in 2023
Remarkable.
is nothing short of special. And the Rangers their original plan when Bruce Bochy came in was at some point Will Venable was going to be the guy to take the reins, but then Will took the job in Chicago. And the second they brought Skip Schumacher in, it seemed like that was always going to be what they had planned.
You
And
can't have a better backup plan than that. I
yeah,
would rather have Schumacher than Venable. So,
yeah. So good for the Rangers for knowing what they have and being able to go get it.
and they did it quickly. They didn't let a Braves or someone sneak in and steal them. They're like, "No, we're getting this done now, and we're not going to worry about anyone else."
In terms of the other things, Brian Snitker, I mean, he had a great managerial career. I think
He was there forever.
he's moving to a special advisory role now, like every franchise legend
Manager that's
always
been
does.
there for 30 plus years.
Well, so he was a guy that had to grind. He was kind of like Mike
Oh, for
Trout.
sure.
He,
Like, yeah,
he,
and I love those guys.
yeah, he came up through the minor leagues and coaching, and never thought. He said he never thought he was going to get one day managing in the big leagues, let alone 10 years. So the
You
fact
know
that
how long Brian Snitker was with the Braves?
it was probably
50 seasons.
yeah. I
50.
was I was going to even undersell that. I was going to say 30 to 40, but
50 seasons. That's
um,
insane. Good for him. Good
yeah,
career. It sucks that the Braves got hurt every player all season, that it ended like this for him because that was a talented team and he was a good manager. So
it
good career
also
for Brian Snitker. It'll be interesting to see what the Braves do.
well, it seems like a lot of the reports that are coming out are saying they're going to plan on an internal hire. Like they're interviewing Walt Weiss, they're interviewing Freddie
I saw
Gonzalez,
Walt Weiss kind of
which
being the guy.
it doesn't make sense. It never makes sense to me whenever a team interviews a guy that they had previously fired. Like, why? What is Freddie Gonzalez going to do that you haven't already seen?
Don't hire Freddie Gonzalez. I mean,
Uh,
do and make everyone's life easier, but
there
don't
were
do
a
that.
couple other guys that were mentioned. I think Eric Young is still there, and they might end up. Or no, Eric Young's with the Angels now because he went over
Yeah.
with Ron Washington. I don't know. There were a couple guys that had been mentioned, but it seems like
Um,
it's most likely going to be an internal hire, which I don't love. And
I
then
also saw people like Mark DeRosa and David Ross at kind of the top of what people thought was going to happen. Which
I think,
I think Mark DeRosa needs to get a job.
yeah, I think you should at least get a couple interviews. I don't. I mean, obviously he's going to be managing the
Team USA.
WBC this year. Uh,
I don't care. Someone needs to hire him. I think he's a good manager.
I feel like that's going to be his audition in a lot of senses.
He's
I don't
already
think
done it though.
yeah, it didn't turn out well. Like you want to win with the roster that he had. I think he's going to need I think he'll probably end up getting a job in 2027 as long as Team USA does like has a run that people expect them to. And then in terms of the whole Albert Pujols situation, again, it's not confirmed. The Angels are going to be going through an actual hiring process.
It
I've
just
heard
seems like it's happening.
I've heard they're also going to be interviewing Michael Young, who played for over a decade with the Rangers, which that's an interesting dynamic. I believe he was working in the front office for the Rangers too.
I thought he was their GM.
Chris Young is
Chris. Okay.
their GM.
Okay. That's what was throwing me. I'm like, I swear he was their GM.
Michael Young was the infielder. Chris Young was the
Yeah.
pitcher.
A pitcher.
Uh, I think Albert deserves a managerial job somewhere, and the Angels. So I don't know what the deal is with Albert's service contract with the
Yeah.
Angels. Um,
They're already paying him.
I feel like the Angels might be able to like nix anything that Albert might want to do. So you might as well manage for a couple seasons with the Angels. And the Angels were better than I think a lot of people expected them to be. They obviously fell off towards the end of the season. Whenever your manager has to leave, it kind of brings in a lot of things that you don't like, a lot of bad vibes on the team. I
Yeah.
think having Albert there, especially with this being a team that he's played with at least a couple of these guys, I think Albert would be really good for the Angels, and so I hope that's something that happens. Especially considering the Cardinals are bringing back Oliver Marmol. They've already announced it, and
Yes.
I think that is also very warranted.
I think he should be back. He was
So
a good manager.
if he's not going to get the job with the Cardinals, it only makes sense that he should get the job with the Angels.
I've also seen Yachty's name floated out there, and I hope it doesn't happen.
I don't think Yachty's going to get a job for a little bit.
I hope he doesn't.
I,
I hope he just waits for Marmol to get fired because inevitably it'll happen with Heim. So
I think if he wants a managerial job outside of St. Louis, he's going to need to coach for a little
somewhere.
bit. I've actually heard John Jay's name getting floated around.
I mean, I think John Jay's a good guy too.
Also, we didn't mention Bob Melvin is no longer the manager of the Giants.
Oh yeah, I've saw his name floated around with the Braves job as well.
I'm curious to see what the Giants are going to do. I've heard things about them trying Bruce Bochy again.
Why?
Bruce
Why?
Bochy's just so old. Like,
Like it's gonna be a Ron Washington thing. Like I don't want to see this dude die on the job. Like retire, enjoy yourself.
but Bruce Bochy also won a World Series 2 years ago, so he still has it as a manager. If he
But
wants
do
to
the
keep,
Giants have it?
if he wants to keep managing, I don't think there's any other spot he literally could manage, and I don't think it'd be a terrible idea for the Giants. But
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm sure as the offseason comes in, as the postseason ends, as the offseason comes in, there's going to be more managerial jobs that we're going to be hearing about. There's going to be some hirings, some firings, all that stuff. So be sure to join us throughout all of that. If you
I'm
guys
ready
are
for the
watching,
off season.
yeah, yeah, me too. All of when all of your favorites are out, it's so hard to do this, but
Yeah, I'm basically rooting for the Mariners and Blue Jays and rooting against everyone in the NL.
this is
I
also
think that's what it is.
our last little bit of baseball that matters that we're gonna have for 5 or 6 months. So
Yep.
we're gonna enjoy it while we can, and we hope you guys are too. So if you guys enjoy what we do, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Follow us on Spotify, anywhere you watch us or listen to us. Um, be sure to share our content because that's something that's going to help with the algorithm and all that too.
Let your friends know.
Yeah, let your friends know. Uh, we're really trying to grow this thing. We plan on doing a lot of cool stuff coming up. Like I said, or like we've talked about in previous episodes, we hopefully plan on starting to expand into college and doing all that stuff. We want to make this a big thing. And we can't do that without your guys' support. So that is why your support means the world to us. So thank you guys for watching. We will be a doing basketball tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Uh,
Sure.
yeah,
Not me.
tomorrow would be Tuesday when you guys are coming out. So you guys will hopefully be hearing from Randall and Marcus, and so we will
Hopefully
see.
hockey the following day
Yeah,
and football the following day.
yeah. As time gets on, and Aaron and I at some point are still planning on doing UFC this week to at least recap UFC 320 and
Yeah,
hopefully getting some
Goliath getting that knocked out.
and hopefully getting some consistency with that too. So uh, again, as we get farther into this, we're going to be getting more consistent and we're going to be getting better. So you don't want to miss that. So we will see you guys next time.
See ya.